This is such an honor for me. First of all, I'd like to thank David and once again congratulate him for everything that he's accomplished, and especially getting this entire group of people here this season to kind of celebrate the sport that we all love. So thank you very much, David. I appreciate you very much. And I appreciate this group more than anything. I have been so blessed to spend time with each and every one of these gentlemen. I not only call them colleagues, but I certainly call them friends. Haven't seen Jeff in about a year. I see Mikey all the time and Kyle as well. I want to know, how old were you when you moved in with the King?
I was 19 years old. I moved in with Kyle first, and it was a great 3 months.
You got any story? Come on, Kyle. You have to have one story for us,
All good
don't you?
things come to an end.
Yeah, so I evidently left my tennis shoes in the living room, and they stunk. And Kyle threw them in the lake.
Yes.
And I came in, and
That's
Kyle and I
kind
have
of
known each other for, 30 years?
Yeah.
35, 40 years?
long time.
89, yeah.
Last century.
Yeah. And I've never seen him mad but one time. And that's when I came home that day and my stinky tennis shoes were in the living room and he threw them in the lake.
They were.
And he said, go get them.
Did you?
Well, I knew that was time for me to move.
Yeah,
Oh, got it.
And so then, but I want to say one thing before we get going. Look at this man. Look at that tie. I feel like such a sissy. Look how my tie looks. And look how
about my tie.
Look at that. He's so stylish.
Yeah.
Who did that to you?
Morgan. Thank you for tying my tie, Morgan. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well,
a clip-on.
Joy
man
tried to
right
fix
there.
my tie, and this is what we came up with.
It's a clip-on. Hey, I am going to say this. Somebody was talking about rednecks riding around in circles. Winston was, okay? All you got to do is go to Greg's table, and you know there's still rednecks in here, okay? Let me just say that. I just want to give Greg's table a shout-out, okay? Because they have not stopped talking all night long. Not all night long. I know you have. I've sat right behind you. I hadn't heard anything all night.
We're going to have to give Fernelli a
Okay.
pass, right?
Just thought
He
I'd
always
throw that
gets a
out.
pass. I want to know from you, because, I feel like at some point you were probably the adult in the room when these kids were running around and doing things on the racetrack. What's your best stories about Kyle Petty and Michael Waltrip?
Well,
No?
do you want me to tell
No. This is not about Kyle Petty. This is about Michael Waltrip and Daryl Waltrip. This is
you're
not-
up here, buddy.
Yeah, this is not.
You are
listen,
up
I'm
here.
just filling
You're
in.
fair game.
I am playing
Stop.
Mike Helton tonight.
No, stop.
Okay.
I've got the microphone. I've been quiet while you two guys have been jibber-jabbering. All
But
right?
Just remember your audience, Jeff.
Yeah, I know.
You
I'm
got to be
playing
careful
the guy
what
right
stories
here
you
in front
tell.
row. If I play to him, there's no way I can be wrong. Right, Greg? Okay. No, we thank everybody who's here and understand that, as he pointed out, I've had to deal with these guys in the last century. Okay, I've been with them a long time. Talking about you playing football. Do you remember we did an article one time and they took a picture of us because they thought that we were something special here in North Carolina because I was an All-American and you were a high school quarterback and everything. But that's when first time I really got introduced to you. But then we turned around and got a little bit more of friends when you were going to Daytona the first time you drove a stock car. And you talk about somebody all of a sudden had eyes bigger than a cartoon character. This guy right here.
Yeah.
You in that Dodge.
As a Dodge Magnum.
Dodge Magnum.
You couldn't fit that
That's
Dodge
it.
Magnum on the stage. That's how long it was.
Well, you could put all these people in it.
Yeah, we could
that
all
big?
rode. Yeah, that's true. That was a big old car.
Do you remember that moment? Do you remember
Going to
what
Daytona?
it was? Yeah, you said wide eyes. Do you remember
So I
what
went
it was
to Daytona. It can be made public, and we're going to get off this in a minute and get to you, Michael. I promise, because this is your award. Okay, is when I graduated high school, and I've told this story a million times. My mom had dreams of me being a pharmacist, and I know all of you are looking at me thinking drug dealer, but she wanted me to be a pharmacist.
Look at the ponytail.
Yeah, so. Finally, they let me go to Daytona. My dad said, if you get that Dodge ready, we'll go test. So Steve Mill and some of the guys at the shop, we worked on it, got it ready, and they decided we were going to Daytona to test. So I had never been in a race car in my life. I'd never driven. They wouldn't let you back it out of the stall. They just took me to Daytona and said, there it is. Go do it.
Wow.
And that's kind of what I did.
How'd you do?
And that was it. Well, I didn't hit anything the first day. I didn't hit anything.
How'd the second day
I didn't
go?
hit anything while I was down there. I came to Charlotte and hit everything there was to hit at Charlotte when I came over here. So Michael came to live with us and build a car. You built a car up there in the back. He built one of. We were talking about the baby grands. What were they called then? I'm sorry.
Darlington Dash.
Darlington Dash. So when they first started, remember they were the baby grands, the little cars. You saw them up here. They were compact cars, and it was the scariest thing in the world to watch people drive those things because they'd show up at Daytona and Charlotte and places like that, and they'd wear white gloves, and you could see their hands on the steering wheel like this. And they'd be coming down the straightaway, and their hands would never move, and the car would be over there, and then it would be over there, and then it would be back over here. And because they had such a short wheelbase. But my man here kicked butt 6 ways from Sundays and those things. I'm going to tell you, man, he dominated.
He was Mac Daddy.
He was the man. He was the man in those things. And
the
you had
thing-
to go through him if you were going to win something. And obviously, he won the championship.
He won
doing it.
championship that year. But he and I were talking earlier, and I love what you brought up. The first time that I kind of helped him out a little bit.
That was awesome, Jeff. And I have a picture of that I keep in my favorites. It's Jeff and a couple of his crew guys, maybe Mike Hill, I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But they're pulling a wagon down to the ARCA garage because I get in this ARCA car and I'm like, Daryl, I can't go straight. Like, I can't go down the straightaway. It's going everywhere. And he said, and Daryl wasn't very hands-on in my career, but he must have seen the scaredness in my eyeballs. And so he said, Hammond, go help him. And Hammond and his guys drag a tool cart down with front-end plates and all that crap that they used, and they tuned up my car, and they fixed it. And I finished 8th in my first ever race at Daytona. And I'm like, well,
This is easy.
crew guys are really important.
Yeah.
And so I've had appreciation for Jeff since 1984, I think that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And appreciation for you since that same year. And right now with those socks, like I've never felt more, holy crap. I mean, from
What's
head
up?
to toe,
Listen.
you're a model.
Yeah. So here's my favorite car that Michael drove. I'm trying to keep this back.
Can you tell this thing is kind
My-
of
my
jumping
favorite-
around? We're race cars.
So,
We're
my-
doing
my favorite car. My
You know,
favorite
Michael,
car.
I've
Wardrobe.
seen you show up on set
I know.
before.
Hey,
Michael
I
showed
thought
up
you were
with
supposed to be in
shoes on
charge
set
here.
one time. What's that?
I thought you were supposed to be in charge.
I'm
here.
trying.
Yeah. So hold on.
They were like moccasins, like green ones, and I think we were on the green set, and his feet were gone, and we
I've
were
just
like,
never-
Oh my
we're
God.
not going to be able to wear these
That'd be
today.
cool.
I've just
That would
never
be
seen
cool.
anything quite buttoned up as that.
I'm sorry. So you ought to see my underwear. So
Don't you start.
Hold on. My favorite car is that slope back Pontiac Hawaiian Punch car, dude. Because we could get free Hawaiian Punch, and everybody likes a good Hawaiian Punch. You know what I mean? So of all those cars through that period of time, because you drove for the Bears and stuff, and what was that time like in your career? Honestly,
I was so unbelievable that I was sharing the racetrack with Richard Petty, Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty. Like, I literally there was no development for me. I just wound up in Cup because I went to see Humpy Wheeler, who's the Hall of Fame promoter. And I said, if I can get $2,500 for tires, I can run the Coke 600 in 1985. And I'd only been in a 4-cylinder dash car. And Humpy said, I'll give you $2,500 and you give it a try. And I qualified 19th for the Coke 600. Didn't know any idea what I was doing. I out-qualified Richard Petty. Sorry, Rich.
Oh,
Whoa.
them fighting words right there, Mike.
That's a big deal. That is
mean,
when you qualify for your first Cup race and you beat some of those guys.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
I thought I'm the man. And then 462 races later, I realized I wasn't.
I like it for the fact that you're honest about some of these things that went on.
So You were. I'm going to ask a question here. I'm going to ask him a question.
Yeah, listen,
I'm
you
sorry.
do this
I don't
for
mean.
a
living
I don't
too,
mean to
so-
step on
Kyle,
you.
that's
'cause
her
it's your
job.
I know it is, but I want to
Kyle
ask
does
him a
this for a
question.
living. He
'Cause
just got an award tonight.
I love that video, and that was a great video. That really was a great video. Who the people that put that video together, but I love the way they described Daryl's wit. I don't think Richard and Cale. I don't think my dad and Cale and Pearson and those guys thought he was very witty. Do you? I mean, you were there during that period of time.
Well, let's put it this way. When Darrell Waltrip came to drive for Junior Johnson, he was replacing my hero, Cale Yarborough. I didn't really like him. So in 1981, Junior did a deal where he said, Jeff, I think you'd be better off staying at the shop and building cars, and I'd bring you in on the weekend to pit it. Whatever you want, Junior. Just keep that sumbitch away from me. That's why I felt about him. I mean, I really did. It was not any kind of anything more than a love-hate relationship. But as the season went along in 1981, I got educated because I had worked with Cale Yarborough. And Cale Yarborough was, I'll use this analogy, he was the Joe Frazier of NASCAR. Tough as anybody you've ever seen. And he could handle the heat. I mean, the deal was we liked it hot and slick. Racetrack as slick as can be and hot as hell inside these race cars because we'd wear a lot of people down because of his determination. With Darrell, he was a guy, and when I got to watch how he did things, he was the Muhammad Ali, you know, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee deal. And he was always looking for how to get an advantage on somebody mentally more than anything else. He was a lot more mental guy than people give him credit for. Not so much physical like Cale, but more mental. And throughout the 81 season, I got educated on the two forms. So in the beginning of 82, when Darrell didn't have a crew chief, you know, I grew some guts, or whatever you want to call it, walked in the office and said, Junior, I want to be Darrell's crew chief, because I knew this cat was going places and was doing things and was educating a lot of us in the garage area because he does know how to give good feedback. Would you agree to that, Michael? I mean, your
100%.
He's got a good feel. And I didn't want to miss the opportunity to work with somebody I knew was going places. So I got the break. In 82, we got together and we mended fences. And in the end, the reason why Darrell and I got along so well, whatever he said, no matter how he said it, and you know, you've listened to him on the radio, he can be a little bit demanding and a lot of bit irritable and cuss you like a redheaded stepchild. But I learned that you deal with that, and whatever's said on Sunday is forgot on Monday. And that's what made us work for the years we were together. Even though we like to say we had a love-hate relationship. We'd get married, then we'd get a divorce. We'd get married again, when you get another divorce. You know, we were in and out a lot, but in that in and out, we produced some numbers. And fortunately, let me stop here and say this, because if I don't, I'll forget. I talked to Darrell before I came in here. He and Stevie, they were going to a Bible study that they had planned, and he couldn't get out of it. Billy Malden was up there. You know, Darrell and Stevie are very involved in their church and different things with MRO. He does extend his gratitude for everything that you're doing for him here tonight, along with Michael. And he wishes he was here. And he said, God bless everybody. He loves everybody. And he really appreciates this organization and what they represent. So he's here in spirit. But talking about spirit, thank you. I really appreciate that. You know, Darrell's a great champion, and he does a lot of things, you know, for the sport and continues to love it. But like I say, we got through so many things because we realized, you know, he needed somebody to beat up, and that was me. He needed somebody to be a cheerleader, and that was me. And I was the luckiest son of a gun in the world because I got to work with these guys. I remember when Michael won your first, would have been the Busch Grand National race. We had so much fun, and because Darrell was saying, I'm going to let him have a chance to drink. You're going to get a race car to what you going to do. In the end, you produced. Yeah. And we had our Cup crew come over and helped Eddie Jones, and Darrell to get that done, get it produced, and it turned out to be really good for Michael and everybody else.
For Michael and for Kyle, you know, I hear you guys talking about your first time getting into racing, and it almost sounds like you didn't know what you didn't know, right? You were kind of just going. But what you did know is that you had Waltrip, that name, that you were like you had to basically represent that name, and the same for you, for Petty. How much did you think about that? Did it bring you pride? Did it bring you nerves? Did it bring you excitement? What was that like for you guys? Because there's not a lot of people that are in the garage, race car drivers, who are literally born into the sport, and that's what you guys represent.
I think Kyle and I are a little bit different because he was at the shop. His dad owned the team. He was there from the time he was a kid, and that was his life. And there was a car for Kyle from the time he was a kid, if that's what he chose to do. And when he chose to do it, he took advantage of it, and he was good at what he did, and he won cup races. For me, it was a little bit different because my brother left Kentucky. He's 16 years older than me, and he left me back in Kentucky, and he went off to do whatever he did, and I was just a fan. So, but I had my last name. I didn't have no money. I don't know car, but I had my last name that my brother made important. And so I just took that last name and went to, from the time I was 16 years old, went to sponsors and said, my brother's a NASCAR star. Maybe you want to put your name on the side of my car. And that's how, you know, everybody talks about kids that buy rides today. I wasn't able to buy one, but I used what I had. And Kyle didn't need to buy one, but he took advantage of what he had. So people that talk about rich kids that come up and they're just they don't know what it's all about. Well, that's bullshit to me, because if they're able to win and cup, they're the best in the world. Like that's unheard of to be able to accomplish that. So I think we all get here differently. I'm just so thankful for my big brother Daryl, because not only did he give me my last name to mean something in the motorsports world, he gave me direction. He gave me hope. He gave me inspiration. He made me want to do what he did. And he was my hero, and he never let me down. He always was there to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, and that meant so much to me. And then if it weren't for Daryl, I wouldn't have met Kyle, wouldn't have met Richard, you know, and it just I'm so thankful for my brother Daryl and the relationships that I was able to form because of my brother.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Let me digress here a little bit, and people may remember this, but I wanted to ask Michael, did you and Daryl ever talk about your crash in Bristol? Because you know, back then we're standing there, we're watching him race, and on the back of Junior Johnson's little bread truck that we used to take to Bristol, and we watched the most horrific crash that I had ever witnessed at that time. And your brother dropped to his knees, and he hollered, "Oh my God, he's dead." You know, and it was just like that. I mean, it was, you know, like we're all going, because we'd never seen it. I mean, this car disintegrated. And
Or disintegrated, as he called it.
whatever he wanted to call
He
it.
added a couple other syllables in there.
Yeah.
He was on TV and he said his car just disintegrated.
Well, he was emotionally a little bit distraught, but the thing was, he grabbed me and he said, "Go see if he's okay." And it's like, I take off and I'm going up toward the crash, and all of a sudden I feel something touching me, and your brother was behind me all the way, but he was kind of like, almost like he's hiding behind me, like somebody shooting at us. You know what I'm saying? He had to get there, but he was so concerned.
But he didn't want to be the first one.
He didn't want to be the first
Yeah.
one
Didn't
out
want to
there.
be the first.
And the thing was, neither did I.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, folks. I mean, I've seen some crashes in my day.
Yeah, it was,
And that
bad.
one right there, it
Yeah.
took the cake.
Right.
Took the cake.
it was, but the
when-
best. Like there's so many great stories. Dale Earnhardt came into the infield care center.
Yeah.
1990 is when that was, 4/7/1990. I remember that day because I feel every day
In infamy.
a blessing.
Yeah.
I mean, a gift from God. But Dale walked into the infield care center, and there I sat like this, and everybody's like, he should be dead. And I'm like, what's wrong with everybody? I'm fine. And Dale walked in and he said, you're one tough sumbitch, I'll tell you that. And he walked out, and I told the nurses, I'm like, Dale Earnhardt thinks I'm a tough sumbitch.
But Michael,
How many?
But
how
Michael,
many?
the
He's the
thing is,
toughest sumbitch
when we're,
there
we're
is.
running up there,
Yeah.
and we're looking at, I mean, the sun. I mean,
Oh, it
I mean,
imploded.
if I was
it's like
sitting on
watching
this
a building
floor right
implode.
now,
But then-
that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
His seat was on the racetrack.
Yeah.
But then the other funny thing that happened that day was Kyle was in that race, and me and Kyle are buddies.
We were
and
talking about it yesterday.
They red flagged the race, because everybody thought I was dead. And they red flagged the race, and it's quiet. The grandstands are like, ugh.
Yeah.
And Kyle gets out of his car to run to see me. And evidently Kyle had roughed up another driver. And he's on his
Yeah.
way to see me. And one of his crew guys grabs Kyle, and he says, hey, sumbitch.
One of his sons. One of his sons.
You wrecked our car. He said, I'll be back to whoop your ass in a minute. I got to go check
Yeah.
on Michael.
It's Tommy.
I'm going to go check on Michael, but you stay right here, and I'll be back to whoop your ass, too.
Evidently, I'd run over Tommy Houston at some point in time during the day, and I didn't recognize. And one of his kids grabbed me and spun me around, and he said, we're going to whip your ass. And
He
I
said, "Stay right
I said,
here."
Stay right. Get your brothers, get your daddy, get everybody. Stay right here. I got to go see if Michael's okay, and then I'll come back and whip your ass. That's what I'm going to do.
You see all the great things that came out of that crazy crash.
Oh,
But when
I
they
don't-
when they lifted the hood off or
Oh, that
the
was crazy,
roof
man.
off of there, and you're sitting up in there, and folks, I mean, he's kind of like like a newborn baby.
Yeah.
What's wrong with y'all?
So if you haven't seen it, you can YouTube it. It's Michael Waltrip
Yeah.
Bristol Crash 1990.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's crazy.
And
Yeah.
I raced the next day, so I don't really understand. I'm just really blessed to be here.
Yeah. Very.
I love that.
very.
That's great. I want to know for you guys particularly, just because you're in media right now, if you had to cover Michael Waltrip back in 1990, what would you, as a media person reporting on Michael, what would you have to say about Michael Waltrip?
Well, he's seems to be lighthearted.
Great set, great hair.
Just has
Great hair.
beautiful hair. Doesn't seem to really care about much. Doesn't seem to be too focused. But then you put him in a car, and he goes pretty good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't mean to be perceived as a guy that didn't seem to take it too seriously, because I did. Kyle knows this.
Yeah.
You can't do what we did if you're not just totally committed and into it. But I don't know. I just felt like I was pretty blessed and lucky, and I wanted the fans to see a fun side. And so what I think's most interesting about that, we all know the legend and what Dale Earnhardt was and how tough he was and how serious he was. But he knew me, and he knew that what I was portraying was just an act, and he knew how bad I wanted it, and that's how we became buddies. He liked the soft side of me, the fun side of me, but he also liked the competitive side of me, so much so that a lot of people don't know this, but I drove, for my first race for him was unfortunately the day that he died. But back in the 80s, he liked what I was doing so much, he let me drive his Busch car that he owned himself. So we were always close, and we always hung out between races, which I don't know how many drivers these days have the kind of relationship that Dale and I did. They're all friendly, but we'd go on vacations together, and so I think he saw that even though I looked like I was a goofball, I was pretty serious about what I did.
Yeah, and I'm going to say I'm going to say this about Michael. When you look at, and it's the same today. It's the same today. You worked for Junior. Those were winning cars. Those were winning race cars. And when you have an opportunity and you finally get to that level, when we came along, there were A cars and B cars and C level cars. Now everything's, it's incredible how these cars are today. But you still have to be in a good car with a good team and good equipment to make something happen. And if you go back and you look at Michael's career, and he jokingly talks about 400 and some races or whatever it was.
It's not a joke, Kyle.
Yeah. No. But here's the thing. Those weren't winning cars. They just weren't winning cars. And I'm sorry. Richard Petty could have got in them, and Darrell Waltrip could have got in them, and Dale Earnhardt. They weren't winning race cars. So but people in the garage area see that, and people in the garage area know that. When you're in that group, you watch a guy and you say, man, he's doing something. And every time Michael got in an Xfinity car, or Busch car, and had an opportunity, he won races. Go back and look. He won races. The one thing, and I said this the other day, and I meant it, the one thing Michael could always do, always, is he could take a piece of crap at Daytona and Talladega and make something happen with it. Make something happen with it. You'd see it'd run 9th, it'd run 10th, it'd run 15th. But that was a 30th place car. It's a 25th place car. But he put it in position and understood. So when he finally got an opportunity with a team that could win races, he won races at those places because he had perfected what it was like to drive on a super speedway. He understood where the wind was. He understood where to put his car, and he capitalized on it. And that's kind of what his answer before with the name Waltrip. That was an entree. That was a door that cracked the door. But once you get through that door, you got to be able to stay because they'll kick you right back out the door. They'll shove you right back out the door. He stayed. He stayed for a lot of reasons. He stayed because he was competitive. He stayed because of his personality. He stayed because he was good for the sport. And then when the opportunity came to win, he won big. He won at big places and on the big stage. And I think that the Michael Waltrip story is a story of perseverance. It's a story of dedication. It's not a story of lackadaisical, I don't care. It's a story of being there day in and day out. It's a story of putting in the hours so when the time did come, you could take advantage of it. And that's what I've always admired about Michael, is that he never, ever, ever gave up. Never, ever gave up. And I appreciate that more than you know,
that's well said. And I'll go one step more. His personality. He put his personality out in front, and he always was not scared to make fun of himself. I mean, you were respectful to the people who sponsored you, but along the way, if you wanted to do something or wanted him to do something that a little bit out of character, something that Richard Petty would probably never do, Darrell Waltrip would never do, David Pearson would never do, but Michael Waltrip, I ain't scared. I mean, that's what I've always admired about you was that you had a fun side, but when you got behind the wheel, it's like you threw the light switch the other way, and you said, "Okay,
you may have gone too far with Dancing with the Stars, but I mean, other than that, I was good. I was with you. I was with you right up to that moment.
There you go. Give us
That's
some moves.
So
We played racquetball off the bank in Talladega one time. Remember that, Michael?
So that's enough about me, Shannon. What do you think about me?
Well, I think you're awesome, but you have great hair and you're one tough son of a bitch. I know, but Kyle has made this all about you because you did get the award. You got an award tonight too, by the way, so that's why you're up here as well. Remember, you did. You
I'm
did.
the only
That's
loser.
true.
I'm the only
Hey,
loser up here.
I
That
didn't get
first
the award.
interview, that's a true story, man.
I love that.
It's hilarious.
Did you do that to anybody else or just Kyle?
Him.
Just
It made me so happy because here's what he did. He said, Michael, you're starting on the pole. How do you feel about today? And he put the microphone there. And I went, and I didn't say any words.
Nothing.
And then Kyle goes,
Yeah. It is. You got to see it, man. There's a trading card. The best part is some guy snapped a picture while all this was going on, and there's a trading card. One of those trading cards. And it's Michael sitting in there, and he's just smiling. He's smiling like he just ate 16 parakeets. I'm telling you.
Kyle's hair is flowing.
Yes. Yeah.
Flowing. I mean, it is perfect. And he's going.
Blank. I'm like, I didn't get a D- on this one.
Get him back.
It was his
ever get
first
him back?
No. Why would you? That was so cool. That's not a payback thing.
It was his first interview ever on ESPN.
Well
Ever.
played.
And that's his memory.
Well
that is my memory, man. Yeah.
That's your memory of Michael. I know we're probably going to have to start to wrap this up, and I know this has been a lot of reflection, but I do want you to answer this as well, Kyle. If your younger self, if you could kind of like, what do you think that your younger self would think about the career that you've put together? I know everybody hates to kind of like look back and reflect and all that stuff because we're not there yet, but I do feel like tonight is a little bit of that. So what would 19-year-old, 20-year-old Michael Waltrip that was moving in with the King and Kyle have to say about this man standing here right now?
I would just say I'm thankful. Like I'm thankful for my brother Daryl, because that's how I grew up. Like Kyle was sort of inside the garage because of his family. I was hanging on the fence, but I wanted to be just like my big brother Daryl. I wanted to go win NASCAR races, and so I just look back and think, if it weren't for that direction, and I feel, I think about kids all the time these days that are lost and don't know where they're headed. He gave me direction, and I'm so thankful for my brother to do that. And then because of that, meeting amazing humans like Kyle Petty and Richard Petty, who saw me and maybe saw how bad I wanted it, and what it meant to me, and helped me get that opportunity. So it's just, I would just say people. I'm so thankful for great humans that influenced me, and that's what I hope for young kids. When I see 12-year-olds that are racing, I'm just like, I hope you've got somebody that has got you focused on what you want to do, and you're not lost. If direction is huge, and I'm thankful for my brother, like I said, but equally as thankful for this man and that cat, the cat in the hat.
Yeah.
And when they mention, Kyle, everything that you've done for the sport, it's like you almost kind of forget everything that you have been involved in, from charitable, to your career, to what you're doing now. And so same kind of question, because, again, you were born into this sport.
Yeah.
You had a lot to kind of follow, and you have made your own path.
So it's funny, because I was blessed. I grew up with the race shop right there. And from the time I was 10, 11, 12 years old, I was at the race shop. When I started going to, and I tell people this is a crazy story. I was in Riverside and saw Dan Gurney win in a Wood Brothers car in a number 121, because I thought it was the baddest ass thing in the world to have 3 numbers on the side of a Cup car. You know what I mean? Because it was just cool. So you go back that far, and one day you wake up and you've been around forever, and it feels that way. But I was very blessed to grow up with my grandfather and with my father, for sure, and to be there and to be able to watch what they did and how they did things, and do that. But and I've said this before, and Michael and Daryl are the same way. I've said this before. If you could put my grandfather here and my dad here, and myself there, and put Adam over there, and we were all sitting here, and you guys were asking us questions, you wouldn't even think we were related. You know what I mean? Because we were 4 totally different people. But the one thing we did do was love race cars, and love race people, and love to be around it. And I tell people this a lot of times when you're talking to and Michael talks about kids, keeping kids focused, is when I was a little boy and we had a circle driveway and I had a bicycle and I'd ride around, I had a mini bike and I'd ride around, I dreamed that I was racing Bobby Allison and Richard Petty and David Pearson and Cale Yarborough and all those guys. I was racing those guys. When I dreamed at night, I dreamed about sitting in a seat and hanging on to the steering wheel. I didn't dream about doing interviews. I didn't dream about having sponsors. I didn't dream about that. You dream about just driving the race car. And I think if you keep that, and that's the one thing that I will take from Richard Petty forever, okay? Because driving a race car was your golf and your hunting and your hobbies and everything. That's what it was. You didn't need anything else. All you needed to do was be able to crawl in that window. Just crawl in that window on a Sunday afternoon or on a Saturday afternoon and hang on to a steering wheel. And sometimes there were cars passing you, and sometimes you were passing cars. But it was still a good day, still a damn good day, and a great way to make a living. And when you look back on it, I remember the races. You remember races you lost. You remember races you won. But you remember the people you worked with. You remember the people on other teams. You remember the things that went on and the people you meet along the way. And I think that's the cool part for me. When I look at my career, and you say this, and I heard a guy the other day, and I'm gonna use his answer. He had a reporter ask him, this was a number of years ago, they were an NBA team, and had a reporter ask him, they got knocked out in the playoffs, and the reporter said, "Is your year a failure? Do you think that your year has been a failure?" And he said, he looked at the guy and he said, "You know, you asked me that question last year, and I didn't have a good answer." And he said, "But it stuck with me for a solid year. It stuck with me." And he said, "Here's my answer. No, it's not a failure." He said, "Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. Were the other 9 years failures? No. He tried his best. He did everything he could. And every night when he went home from a game, it was not a failure. It was just he had to recalibrate and go back the next day." And Michael and I won races. We didn't win tons of races like Richard Petty. We didn't win tons of races like Darrell Waltrip and these other guys. But by God, we won races. And we competed with those guys. So when I look at a career and I look at the things I did, the things Jeff did, the things Michael have done, we're not failures. You just put it out there, man. And you go and do it. And you do something that you love. And you have that opportunity. And my family has been a part of this sport forever. And they afforded me that opportunity. Michael worked his way into this sport. Jeff worked his way into this sport. But once you're in, you're in. And that's it. And I said it from this stage when we had the Hall of Fame. This is family. And that's the crazy thing about motorsports. I don't care if you run in a straight line or if you zigzag while you're getting there on a road course or if you run in ovals. It makes no difference. Motorsports is a family. And we are all very, very blessed in this room. Michael and I are doubly blessed. Jeff's doubly blessed to have been able to be a part of it at some point in time. But we're more blessed to still be able to hang out and do this kind of stuff.
I know when there's a drop the mic moment, and that was it. So we're just going to end it on that. They might get upset if you do drop the mic, but that was beautifully said, Kyle. Beautifully, beautifully said. Because it's true.
It's just a real honor to be here, and I really appreciate everybody that came. I appreciate Greg and Hondros for inviting me,
Yep.
Truist and the NCMA, and how much you've done for motorsports in North Carolina, bringing all these folks together. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for the honor. I know my brother would be able to, he would say the same, he'd have the same sentiments about how cool this is. We reflect, and we're appreciative, and we're thankful. And when you can bring your family together like that group I got over there, and see friends here as well to talk about good times we've had in this world, it means a lot to me. And to share the stage with Hammond, Hollywood, and
Yep.
Kyle Petty,
Love this guy.
and Shannon. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you guys for having me up here. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Let's give all these guys and Winston and David and everyone else that made this night possible a big hand.
There is nothing I can add to the great philosopher that is Kyle Petty. Give a round of applause. Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip, Jeff Hammond, and Shannon Spake for herding these cats. Thank you for being here tonight. Have a great rest of your HPX week and a great rest of your 2025. Thanks for being a part of it. Have a great evening. Drive safely.